Welcome to the world's first Straight Talk Solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this year? Or
well,
this week?
This year, this week,
this day.
month. Yeah, it's roasting. It's normal summer here in Brentwood.
Woo.
Last year we had no days over 100 degrees. This year we've had 10, so we're not even through halfway July yet. But
wow,
it's all fascinating.
Is that true?
True.
Last year was a little more mild.
A lot more mild, yeah,
Wow.
and a lot more rain and everything. So. Hot weather, maybe that means drought. We'll see.
I hope no wind. That's all I ask.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
I got questions for you, Jamie.
Very good.
Okay. These are some basic questions, but here, this is kind of, these were sent in to us. So,
okay.
All right. I got, this one isn't a question. I think it's more of a sad lament.
Okay.
It says our true up is going to be like $4,500 this year. And our solar is clearly not enough for our family. And when we bought our house with solar, for a family of one person that works outside the home, and now she says we're going to get some batteries hopefully this year and then work on expanding our solar to hopefully almost get to zero. Jamie, reaction.
So that's a good plan because as people are using more electricity, electric cars, more air conditioning. I mentioned, last year not as hot. This year, virtually every house I walk by is AC is going all day and all night.
Wow!
And so we're seeing just gigantic electricity bills.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're using more power, that person is using more power doesn't mean the solar is producing anymore. And so what happens is when that person, and this person in particular, bought the house with solar on it. So it's like saying, okay, well, I have an engine that's going to max out at 75 miles an hour. And my family, we regularly drive 150 miles an hour. So,
wow.
We need an engine that's going to keep up with our family.
Mm.
And so it should be very easy to expand a solar panel system. And normally it would be. And it's changed now that on April 15th, 2023, PG&E changed everything to that NEM 3.0. So for a $4,500 true-up, let's just say, for example, we need to add 25 more panels. So basically double the size of their system. We now have to look at their house and say, where can we put these solar panels? And a lot of times, the prime space has already been used. So if the south roof face is completely maxed out, then we have to use the west or the east or the north face,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to leave fire access. So in case of a fire, the fire department can go up. So we can't just cover every square inch of the roof with solar panels. And then there's there's generally obstructions, chimneys, roof vents, and things like that in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then there can also be a lot of shading out. So when I look at, or when I talk to a person first, I pull up their home on Google Earth. And if I see a tree shading the solar panels, I say, your best return on investment would be, of course, cutting down those tree limbs that are overhanging the solar panels. And it's not just for solar exposure, it can be for fire safety too, because if that branch catches on fire, it's likely going to catch the house on fire. And nobody wants that. And it's easily preventable. And I have heard that insurance companies are going to start really raising the rates on those people, if not canceling them outright. So there's drones, and I don't know why they're using drones. They can use Google Earth just as easy to evaluate a customer's house, kind of like what
Wow.
we're doing.
Yeah.
But if there's no room on the roof for solar, then we're kind of stuck. And we do have quite a few clients where we maxed out their house on the first round, and there is no more room on their roof for solar. And then we have to look at, can we add perhaps they would tolerate a driveway canopy, so something that covers their canopy or their driveway, and we can put solar panels on the top of that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that's not going to be very, it's not easy to do, and canopies are pretty expensive and they have to be engineered a lot. So may not be a great answer, great response, but adding batteries might be a good answer, because the second we add more than 3 panels onto that system, it's now moved into the NEM 3.0, and their compensation for that excess power drops 75%. Mm-hmm. So if we were just to do that person's true-up bill and move them into NEM 3.0, my guess is that their new true-up bill would probably be in the $6,000 to $7,000 range, and that's significant. So
wow,
right.
I'm hoping that solar salespeople are letting people know that.
So because it's staggering, and this is why the solar industry is coming to a close in a lot of places, because a $30,000 solar panel system that would have offset the person's true-up bill. We now adding 2 batteries, that makes it a $60,000 to $70,000 investment. And if you take away a 30% tax credit, so now let's just say it's $45,000. You divide that $4,500 or $45,000 cost by that $4,500 true-up bill, and what do you get?
10
years. And so people are looking at 10-year break-even time.
Yeah.
And
it used to be like 3 or 4 years.
About 4 years for that system. And so they're looking at it going, I guess I got to live with the 4,500. And so that's what I would advise this person is we need to investigate, evaluate, we go through the whole process. So my recommendation is to, we can offset of that 4,500, we can offset at least 3/4 of that just with solar panels without adding any batteries. But if we're offsetting 4,000 of that true-up bill, that last 500, we have to invest a lot of money, a lot more solar panels, and a lot more, and at 1 or 2 batteries. And so my recommendation is, let's install solar where it makes sense. So if your south roof base is maxed out, let's look at the west side and look at the east side. Mm-hmm. Trim back the trees, make any energy efficiency things we can. Most people have already done that, and then from there, just get used to the idea you will have a true-up bill. And it's sad, but it's an emotional decision, because that true-up bill is, even if we doubled the amount of solar you had, we still would probably break even in the winter months for what you're actually using, because we just don't get the sun hours during the winter. Unless it goes back to a drought like we were just talking about. But
wow,
it's so basically you will be buying power from PG&E. And so now in the winter months. And so, but if we can offset the big chunks, these $1,000, $1,800 electricity bills in the spring, summer, and fall, then that is a much better return on investment. And, that can pay for itself in 3, 4, 5 years. So especially with PG&E rates in the summer, spring, fall, that are, 60 cents a kilowatt hour. So the break-even time on that is really, really good. And then we can look at it in a year or a year and a half, 2 years down the road and say, well, my true-up bill, it would make sense to add a battery, because we are using a lot more power at night, or we had to switch to a heat pump and those kind of things. So it could just be, let's do the solar now and let's wait for it. Let's wait and see how it affects the true-up bill. And then from there, we can kind of go and add batteries later. There's no penalty now, because there's no NEM 4.0, at least as of today. That's coming out. That's
your math.
Yeah, that's going to make battery storage a lot tougher. But yeah, it's a process for sure, and it's we'll continue to investigate, and we'll continue to kind of leave you what I think is the best strategy for dealing with all of these things, and then we'll see how it goes, see what happens from there.
I like the idea of the solar company becoming kind of a partner. So, you do the project, and then in a couple of years or a year, you kind of review it together and say, okay, did this, how this affected you and, your needs and all that stuff. And then a second phase, if necessary. I think that's a great idea.
Could not agree more. And, if I can kind of, leave it with this, is that solar has completely changed. And so the people who are advising, who are really, especially in the solar industry, we're really trained on this NEM 2.0 model, where the retail rates on the solar excess, so the amount of power you're sending back and PG&E rewarding at retail rates to encourage solar, those days are pretty great, and it's not going to be easy anymore. So now it's a much tougher sell, but really kind of do your best to explain everything. And if it's just too much of an investment right now for people, it's too much of an investment. I completely understand. We're going through it too. Definitely a lot of we're doing tons and tons of proposals, and not tons and tons of people wanting to go solar, because it is just it's overwhelming, the amount of decision points that someone has to go through. So
wow,
completely understand, completely agree. And we appreciate everyone's patience out there. If you are very frustrated, kindly write to your state representatives. I've spoken to quite a few, and who had no idea what I'm even speaking about with solar. And so, send them a copy of your True Up bill and say, hey, we got to do something about this. So
WTF.
That would help a ton.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I think we have run out of time, Jamie.
Yeah. Maybe we'll catch another question next week.
All right. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your week for learning about this topic. Solar is always changing, and Jamie, you can trust, is always on top of it. He's been doing this podcast 7-8 years now. Definitely the expert for residential commercial solar in California. So thank you, Jamie, for spending some time to educate us all. As usual, if you have a question for Jamie for an upcoming episode, go to our Facebook page, send us a message through there. It's Straight Talk Solarcast. If you want to check out a library of our past episodes, solarharmonics.com is your resource. Click on the podcast at the top of the page and listen to your heart's content. And if you have a friend considering going solar, this would be an excellent podcast to refer to them, because the information that's available, all this stuff, is always changing. And so what was true last year, definitely not true this year, or even this week. So this is a great podcast to stay on top of those issues and stay informed. So until next time, everyone, see you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com, and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.